One of the things about medicine that I really believe in is that this is holy ground. It is sacred ground. It needs reverence, and it needs people who understand that we were made well and we have a gift as healthcare providers to support that, to love that, to nourish that. And sometimes we're broken and we need to fix that. But what we really need is people who understand that calling and are willing to step up and step into a very broken field with very broken people.
Abby Sinnett never set out to become a culture-shaping force in women's healthcare. She thought she was simply answering a call to medicine. But inside exam rooms and clinical rotations, she witnessed something deeper. The quiet moments where women feel unseen, unheard, and alone. The places where dignity gets lost behind protocols and the painful reality of what happens when healthcare forgets the humanity of the person on the front lines. So Abby did something bold. Alongside her co-founder and mother, she built something new. Today, Abby Sinnett is a CEO and co-founder of Bella Health and Wellness, a comprehensive, life-affirming medical practice serving women, men, and families from the very first heartbeat to the final chapters of life. As a board-certified women's health nurse practitioner and one of the nation's most respected NAPRO and root cause medicine providers, Abby brings together clinical excellence, authentic encounter, and a belief that the human body is beautifully designed. At Bella, she leads a model of care that meets people at their most broken moments, not with judgment, but with reverence, not with fear, but with hope, not with assembly lines, but with genuine person-to-person love. From pregnancy support and fertility care to abortion pill reversal and medical advocacy to mentoring the next generation of life-affirming providers. Abby is reshaping what medicine can be when mission leads the way. A wife, a mother of 4 daughters, a Christian, a CEO, and a witness to countless lives changed. Abby is challenging a broken system with something far more powerful than outreach. She's challenging it with dignity. And today, she's sharing her story. This is Living Pro-Life. Hey, thanks for listening to Living Pro-Life. Make sure to be part of the growing base of people making Coalition Life happen. And so we ask you today, please consider donating $1 for our One Life campaign. Your $1 can help build a culture of life. Your $1 can help save a baby from the tragedy of abortion. Your $1 can help women in need who need us more than ever. Consider donating $1 today, supporting our mission here at Coalition Life, and ultimately helping to end abortion throughout our great country. Now back to Living Pro-Life. Hey, welcome, Abby. I appreciate you being on the program. It's excited to have you.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, Abby, you're doing so much great work there at Bella Health and Wellness, based out of Colorado. But I know you have an impact that isn't just there in Colorado, but around the country. So first and foremost, tell us what Bella Health and Wellness is and why it's so important.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. So Bella Health and Wellness is a comprehensive medical practice here in Englewood, Colorado. We started out in 2014 just doing obstetrics and gynecology, and ultimately people loved our model of care. People were like, gosh, my husband, my children, they need this type of care too. And as that need just grew and grew for dignified healthcare, so did our care. And so we ended up adding family medicine in 2017. We now do pediatric care and functional medicine. So we take care of people across the lifespan with just really beautiful, dignified, life-affirming healthcare for anybody who needs it.
Yeah, absolutely. Bella's doing great work. And but many of the people who are listening are coming from the pro-life perspective. And so tell us about how Bella and the ongoing care that you provide might help in that pro-life space.
Yeah. So, everybody comes with baggage, right? We all have our stuff. We all are broken in so many ways and have just a story. And at the end of the day, whether it's, a physical poverty, spiritual poverty, or just a poverty of heart and spirit. We all are broken and we all need love and care. And where do you go when you're broken? You go to healthcare. And if it's mental health or physical health or spiritual health, you go to healthcare. And what's great is that we get to stand in that gap with people in those moments when they are broken and just enter in with them. And that is life affirming, but that's also just person affirming. It's humanity affirming, and it's just loving. And so that's what we get to do, is just be with people.
As a founder, a co-founder of this incredible organization, what do you say to people who are considering maybe getting into the medical field or even starting something like this? What do you say to them?
Mm, do it. It's so good and it's so needed. One of the things about medicine that I really believe in is that this is holy ground. It is sacred ground, and it is reverent. It needs reverence, and it needs people who understand that we were made well, and we have a gift as healthcare providers to support that, to love that, to nourish that. And sometimes we're broken and we need to fix that. But what we really need is people who understand that calling and are willing to step up and step into a very broken field with very broken people. And so if somebody is being called to medicine, by all means, jump in with a big old fat yes, and be ready to roll, because God's going to use you.
Well, you mentioned it was a broken system or a broken, profession, if you will. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think unfortunately, as with everything in the world, there's just so much broken. And medicine itself has seen good and bad days and great things happening on one hand, where there's cool things with technology. We can do more, we can help more, we can support more. And also a time where there's just a lot of mistrust, misinformation, misguidance. And so it's just a broken situation in that standpoint. Also just a financially broken system where there is just so much need and not enough resources to go around. And so we just need people who are willing to jump in, who want to be all in and help. At Bella, what we've seen here is, even in the early years, we would have 100 or 200 new patients per month. In the last 6 to 9 months, we've been seeing over 300 new patients flocking through the doors of medicine. So there's just a great need for really good, dignified medicine, and people are just coming with so much need. So really, at the end of the day, if you've got that calling and you're being invited into this, then there's just a need to answer.
With regards to the pro-life movement, many times we refer to our pregnancy centers as being the place that we need to send women if they're considering abortion or anything else like that. There's some 3,000 to 4,000 pregnancy centers across the nation.
Yeah.
Yet at the end of the day, most of these do not provide OBGYN care. They do not have nurse practitioners on staff or midwives. And so many times a pregnancy center will then send them right back into the system.
Yeah.
So how is Bella filling the gap there?
Yeah. So what's great is that we get to encounter women from that very moment of conception, or even before conception. I like to tell a story. When I was in grad school, going to be a nurse practitioner, I'd been doing my rotations in just regular mainstream clinics, and I had been looking for all kinds of just safe places that I could go and practice the way that I had hoped to practice, and maybe not end up in a circumstance that could compromise my values or beliefs. And so I'd set up my own rotations. And one of the things that I found along my rotations is that I had set up a rotation, and one of my patients, the first patients of the day, the provider comes in and is like, "Hey, I just want you to know our first patient today is a young girl who is planning on having an abortion." And everything just dropped. And I was like, I had thought that I had put myself in a situation where that wouldn't happen. She's like, "No, you don't have to be involved. You don't have to do anything if you don't want to. We just offer this service really quietly to our patients. We don't advertise. We don't talk about it. We just do it in the quiet of the exam room if that's what they need." And that was a really big shock to me. And it was really important for me in that moment to realize what's really happening behind the closed doors of a medical exam room. And how important it is to have healthcare providers that you trust and that you know. For me, as we opened up Bella, I wanted to be that place before there was a crisis. We wanted to be there where they had the relationship, where they had encounters with with patients before the crisis even happened, so that when there was the crisis, we were there, we were ready, and there was none of this happening behind closed doors quietly situation, that we were the place for that. And so not only do we offer, comprehensive primary care, comprehensive obstetrics and gynecology care, and then all the way through pregnancy and postpartum, we get to be with women along the whole journey. And, pregnancy centers are wonderful and they're beautiful, but what's happening is that we're finding people who are really entering in these crises without a whole lot of resources. And we need to be all in before we even know that we need to be all in.
Right. Right. Absolutely. I'm assuming the end of the story is that, unfortunately, this woman may have gone through this abortion.
Yeah. So sweet girl, I'll never forget her face. I'll never forget being there. It was one of those moments of, do I leave? What do I do? How do I handle this? And I just had the gift of being able to just sit there outside the door and just really pray for her. And her face still remains in my brain. She was a young 16-year-old girl. And what I remember was her walking out of that exam room and her mom saying, "It's okay, honey. This is all going to be over before homecoming next week."
Wow.
And that just really pierced my heart of how normal we tried to make it, or it gets made in medicine, and how it just kind of gets shoved under the rug. And instead, we really have a role to play in entering into that circumstance, loving in that circumstance, being a part of that circumstance in a different way.
Well, let's talk, let's kind of move a little bit into the abortion topic a little bit more. Tell us about this chemical abortion that's happening across the country and how potentially they can even have it reversed. Tell us a little bit about that background data.
Yeah, so more and more of abortions are actually happening by that abortion pill. And actually the patients that I'm seeing most recently even are patients who are just text chatting with a provider, and they're getting that abortion pill just mailed to them via a text chat. The most recent patient that I saw, I was like, "Wait, did you talk to somebody? Did you have an exam? Like, was there anything?" And she's like, "No, I just texted back and forth. I told them their, my period date, and they sent me a pill." So we're seeing more and more of this where they're not actually receiving medical care, medical assessment. They're just getting that abortion pill. So that is the majority of abortions that we see these days. And I kind of describe a reversal process of just like that moment when you realize you got into something and you're like, "Oh crap, what did I do?"
Right.
And it just happens so fast. Every single woman that comes in that I have done an abortion pill reversal with, I feel like she tells me it just happens so fast. And before I knew it, it was over and I took the pill. And so that is a very common thing, whether it's via text or in an actual exam room. It just happens quickly. They take it and then they start processing, or they start thinking about, well, maybe I coulda, or I have support, or that's not really what I believe. And so they come into that exam room just really hoping that maybe there can be something different. And so the abortion pill reversal, basically, if we go back to kind of the science behind the abortion pill is working on the progesterone receptor sites to block those receptor sites so that the pregnancy can't implant and stay implanted. My sweet son-in-law recently told me, just in layman's terms, he's like, "So you got the bun in the oven and you turn off the oven." I'm like, yes, that is in the simplest forms. That is kind of the situation. The bun in the oven, we turn off it with that abortion pill. Basically, when we do a reversal process, we're putting a lot of progesterone back into the system to turn the oven back on, to get it going again. Progesterone is our pro-gestation hormone, so pro-pregnancy. If we can override the system with a lot of progesterone, then hopefully we can kind of glue that pregnancy back in to keep it in there. Now, it's not 100%. And we explain that to patients. This may work. It may not work. There's variables with it, depending on how far along they are, what their history is, what their pregnancy history is. So there's definitely variables. But we do see somewhere around 2/3% of the time, we can reverse that process if we get that started and get that progesterone back in the system for the woman. And we've definitely held babies. Beautiful babies have come from this abortion pill reversal process. And we know that it can work, but we got to get going on it quickly.
Well, there are groups right now in the country who are suing, for instance, Heartbeat International and other types of pregnancy centers and groups that are providing this abortion pill reversal, saying that it's dangerous or that it doesn't work and there's no evidence that it works. But you're telling me that there are children living today as a result of this. So what do you say to that?
Yeah, so we are one of those groups. In 2023, the state of Colorado made it a law that it was illegal and unprofessional conduct to perform or provide abortion pill reversal here in the state of Colorado. And when that legislation came out in April of 2023, Bella Health and Wellness, my mom, myself, Dr. Sander, and Bella sued the state of Colorado, saying that that is absolutely within our rights to be able to do. It's not unsafe, and it's absolutely part of our religious obligation to be able to do something. If somebody has taken something and I have something that is life-saving, I can't not provide that. And
Right.
so we did sue the state of Colorado. We won that legislation. Yeah.
Congratulations.
So a beautiful win is the first win for abortion pill reversal. And so we're thrilled to be able to continue to provide abortion pill reversals for women who have, taken that abortion pill and want to reverse the effects of it, that we can continue to try that. And basically that did show that it is not unsafe by any means, and we can provide that. And so this was the first legislation of its kind. Unfortunately, the law is not reversed. That's not how it works. But we do still have the ability to provide that, and we have won that.
Incredible. Congratulations, by the
Thank
way.
you.
That's
Yes, we're
fantastic.
so excited. We're waiting to find out, what the appeals will look like, how that will all go down, but we're definitely excited about a huge win there. First of its kind.
Well, I was talking with a longtime pro-life leader. I'll leave him nameless at the moment, but he says, look, when we fight, we win, right? Well,
Yep.
and fight legally speaking. And
Sure.
right, I know that not to be too intense regarding, I'll use a different word. When we push lawsuits, when we, fight back against legislation that we do not agree with, we win. Ultimately, we win. So
Yeah. Brian, at the end of the day, I would say when we love, we win.
that's true.
It's not even about fighting. When we love, and we love those babies, when we love those women, when we, stand up with love, that's when we win.
Well, let's switch a little bit of the subject to childbirth itself.
Okay.
So again, talking about our fantastic pregnancy centers around the country, many times they then refer to a hospital or another provider who may or may not give a nice quality birthing process. My wife, who has gone through 8 of these,
Congratulations.
we're every single one of them is this different story of how it didn't quite go the way she wanted it to go.
Sure.
And so, and I hear story after story from women who say, I went into the hospital and I wanted this and I got something completely different. So
Sure.
tell us maybe how Bella might be different in that process.
Yeah. So first and foremost, I think that what Bella really recognizes, and all of our providers, whether it's the physicians or the midwives, the nurse practitioners, our team across the board really recognizes that the body is made well. It is beautiful. It is good. It knows how to do this. And so I think that that's the first piece of birth, is just recognizing the goodness and the beauty in how we were created. And so I think that sets the stage for birth with Bella. And then at the end of the day, just recognizing that we as healthcare providers, I got to see my first baby be born a long time ago. I was very young. But even in my very first birth, I recognized that we as healthcare providers stand on one side of the room and God stands on the other. And we get to just reach across, put our hands across, and we get to touch God through that birth and invite that sweet child into this world as the Lord hands us that baby. And that is beautiful, and it is reverent, and it is an honor to be able to stand in that place. And I think that all of the providers here at Bella really recognize that beauty and that goodness and the humble place that we get to be in that moment, which is unfortunately maybe different than all people believe, but that is the truth. That is the truth. It is a beautiful and natural and good process.
Well, we're talking again with Abby Sinnett with Bella Health and Wellness. If someone wants to learn about Bella, where would they learn about you?
Yeah, check out our website, bellawellness.org. We have great, beautiful things happening, men, women, children, functional medicine. We're also expanding into North Dakota this year and hopefully beyond. So really good things happening.
Well, of course, if they're in the area, they could become a patient, of course. Is there any kind of charitable aspects of Bella as well?
Yeah, thanks for asking that. We are a nonprofit organization, so we are a 501(c)(3), and ultimately, medicine doesn't pay for this type of care, Christ-centered care, dignified health care. We just don't get paid for that. It takes longer. It is more intentional, and so in order to be able to bridge that gap, it really depends on our donors. And so we definitely do invite donations. We invite you to get involved. There's so many beautiful ministries or organizations in the pro-life circles, but Bella's one of them, and we're fighting a real fight, and we're really working to love and enter into that battle with our patients. And so if that's something that if you're interested in just getting involved and making a really beautiful difference for patients in their lives, we definitely welcome that.
Incredible. Well, Abby, for those who are sitting on the sidelines thinking, I should get involved in the pro-life movement, generally speaking, like
Sure.
they're not a doctor, they're not a nurse practitioner. They a lot of what we talked about, like, I'm not sure this is for me.
Yeah.
What else could they get involved in and support the work you're doing, but then broadly across the world or across the board with regards to the pro-life movement?
Yeah, so absolutely, whether it's with an organization like Bella, or even just in your own community, at the end of the day, women really are broken and they're told that they're not good, that their bodies are broken, they need to shut it down, whatever the case is. And so the biggest thing that I would offer every single person can do is enter in with love, enter in with hospitality and kindness and goodness. And let people know if it's maybe you're the first one finding out that somebody's pregnant, then I encourage you that your only answer to that woman is congratulations, it's going to be okay. That would be the thing that I would say is love and love big. We don't have room for hate. We don't have room for yuck. What we have room for at this point, and the stakes are too high, love. That's what you can do in this moment. And that is a tangible something, even if it's just being kind to the person that walks by you.
Incredible. Again, this is Abby Sinnett with Bella Health and Wellness. Again, one more time, how they can get a hold of you and get involved.
Yeah, Bella Health and Wellness. You can just go to our website, bellawellness.org, and check us out there.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Abby. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks so much, Brian. You take care.